I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere. Cause I ain't did shit.
Who has rights? Who is the public? What is the public? To whom does public space belong? Do not all citizens have the right to use public space? Is it ethical to criminalize those who occupy our public spaces? Do not all citizens share equally in the goods of the city? Who decides these issues? Who answers these questions? These and many other questions are very timely for the reality of the city of Atlanta today and its inhumane and unethical treatment of its homeless population. Statistics vary widely, yet estimates claim that between 4,800 and 22,000 people are homeless in Atlanta. These are citizens who have no permanent residence in which to sleep, eat, or bathe. They lack the basic means to foster a sense of pride and human dignity. The Atlanta City government and business leaders have passed a series of legislation to appropriate and revitalize the downtown area through the displacement of the poor and the criminalization of the homeless.
That we just started to address the issues of homelessness.
Although the city, and particularly Mayor Shirley Franklin, claims to work on behalf of the homeless by funding and managing the integrated service facility called the Gateway Center, these measures come years after the city passed legislation allowing the mayor to issue an executive order that stripped away the rights of the homeless. Of particular concern are Atlanta's so-called quality of life ordinances adopted in 1996 just prior to the Centennial Olympic Games and reinforced and expanded over the last decade. These ordinances build on existing laws and serve to criminalize the homeless, although never explicitly stating so.
Man, don't you know they used to call it urban camping, then they stop
Right.
Then they stop this. You know,
At the core of this bundle of laws and ordinances are the heinous laws that criminalize urban camping and improper use of public spaces, namely living on the streets, begging or panhandling, performing music and soliciting donations on the streets without a permit, feeding people in public spaces, cruising, as well as older laws prohibiting defecating or urinating on public property, spitting in public, or using public parks at night. To institute and enforce these measures, the city relies on the police department and the courts, but also on the newly created Ambassador Force, a group of city employees that provide direction and security on city streets. They have also begun to work with the police to enforce the quality of life ordinances. The city also relies on the new community court, a court system established in 2000 and financed primarily by the business community, whose mandate it is to deal exclusively with the quality of life cases.
No. When I go to jail, you gonna pay my bond. See, you could always talk. You ain't gonna help police and all them and stuff. You know. When you
As a consequence, Atlanta's poor and largely African American residents have been displaced from their neighborhoods and left to fend for themselves. Beginning in 1965, tens of thousands of poor city residents were displaced in the name of progress. These projects included the construction of the Fulton County Stadium, the Atlanta Civic Center, and the interstate highway system, while those occupying the streets have been shuttled away. Now that you have heard part of the story and know some of the issues, these questions still linger. Who does the city of Atlanta value as citizens? Who have the right to decide who will use public spaces? Do the homeless not also have rights in this city? Is it moral and ethical to dehumanize and criminalize the homeless? And are not everyone's personal rights at risk by these measures that criminalize the homeless? In other words, when will it be your turn? And most importantly, as John Wayne asks, what are you going to do about it, particularly since your city is doing so little?